Hey everybody, Scoop Malera here. I'm coming at you guys this time with something just a little bit different. Now, this past week, something really cool happened at my school, and I wanted to share this with you guys, and it's probably on a few different levels. So, I don't know, maybe there's some different ways something here might sink in, or maybe you might be able to show this to somebody that might help them along. Anyhow, our school is really good about something that I'm really proud of, and that is the fact that we try hard to be proactive about behavior challenges. And right now, when you're dealing with middle school age children, you're going to be dealing with some challenges. So what we do is instead of just trying to find the best consequence or the best corrective action when someone does something wrong, we try to take these proactive measures. And recently I went to my principal with an idea, a message that I wanted each kid to hear in the 8th grade. And I got to tell you, she's so receptive to ideas like this that she not only wanted me to speak to each kid in the 8th grade, but she found a way that I was able to present this message to every kid in the school. And it was done in chunks of between about 60 and 75 kids at a time. They brought them into the auditorium one day, and then the other day the media center was available, so I was able to use these two different venues in the school, and through doing so, I spoke, I think it was 13 or 14 different times, but every kid in the school that was present that day got to hear this message. Now, as you can imagine, there isn't one unifying message that you can say to every kid of that age that it's going to hit home for all of them. But while I was giving the speech, each time I saw at least a few dozen kids that I could tell this really hit home with them. And maybe it'll hit home with somebody that you know that's of this same age and you can help me share it along. So, it's a little embarrassing. But the first thing I want to point out is almost every adult wishes they could be young again. I heard this when I was younger and it stuck with me. And it's really true. If you talk to almost any adult, they wish they could be young again. The irony is almost every kid, especially middle-aged kids, wish they could hurry up and be grown up so they could do the things they want to do with their life. But the part you never hear about, though, is that they don't wish they could go back to their middle school years. You see, that was the toughest time for almost all of us growing up. And when we think back about our younger time, the most challenging part, the most difficult part, the most embarrassing parts, all of this stuff rolled into one was middle school. And for me personally, I can speak from experience because I was this guy. I think the best way to describe it would be to talk about the time that I broke my arm at a birthday party that my girlfriend was at when I was trying to impress her by kicking a piñata. And you should know something about me then. No matter what happened, I would not let anybody ever see my parents drop me off or pick me up anywhere. I was so embarrassed that people would see me and think, oh, his mommy had to drop him off here at the movie theater, or his mommy picked him up from basketball practice. And even though the other kids I was hanging out with all had to catch rides from their parents or their friends' parents, I was too embarrassed to ever let anybody see me being dropped off by my parents. So on this fateful day at the birthday party, when I jumped up to try to kick a piñata and landed with my hand bent backwards and broke my arm, I still could not possibly let my parents come pick me up, or even the parents of the girl whose birthday party it was. No, I had to get home on my own and ride my bike home. And if anybody here has ever had a broken bone before, you know it hurts. I broke actually 2 bones right here on my arm, and I went to my bike and I propped it over the handlebars and I put the boom box that I had, slid it, the handle of it through the other handlebars, put my hand there and rode my bike home because once again, nobody could see my mother or father pick me up. And later on in the school year, when she decided to break up with me but didn't tell me, everybody else knew but me. I had just gotten the cast off. Now, here we were. I went to all the places she normally met me at. Called her on the phone. She didn't answer. When I showed her for class, she'd be the last one in and wouldn't sit anywhere near me. And I had no idea what was going on. Everybody else at the school knew that she broke up with me but me. And if you think ghosting is a thing now, you had to work really hard to ghost somebody back then, but she ghosted me. And again, everybody in the school knew it but me. And I thought I was going to die. And for 2 more weeks after those 2 weeks happened, I could not hardly live with myself. I was almost too embarrassed to show up anywhere, and I was miserable, and I thought it would never end. And now I hardly remember her name. And nobody tells you this stuff, but the things you're going through right now are so real, and they seem so real. But what makes it challenging is that you're growing and everybody keeps telling you you're turning into this new person and you don't know if you're there yet, but you're trying to figure out who you are. You're learning what you like and what you don't like, but you're surrounded by all these other people that are also trying to figure it out. And it looks like some of them have it figured out and some of them do. And a lot of them haven't got it figured out, and they're over here one day and up here another day, and you're still trying to figure out who you are, but you're surrounded by all these other people trying to figure it out too. And some days you just want to fit in, but other days you want to stand out. But that's what it's like being at this age. But the good thing about this age, the cool thing about this age, is it's a lot like pushing a refrigerator over a hill. And I got to tell you, when you are pushing a refrigerator over a hill, it's not easy. And it's especially not easy to get it started. So what you got to do is you got to get down and you got to get low. And you got to get it moving. And you get it moving by moving that back foot and pushing really hard. And once you get moving a little bit, it feels good. But you slow down just a little bit, it stops. And all of a sudden, you realize it's harder to get it moving that second time. And this is a lot like when you're in middle school. And it's harder to get it moving that second time. But when you do, now it's moving. And now there's this knowledge from before because now you're learning things. And you realize, oh my gosh, I can't let this thing stop moving. It was too hard to get it going the second time. So you keep pushing and you keep pushing. And all of a sudden you see and you start getting up the foot of the hill and it takes more to push it. And that's when school gets harder and the friendships are challenging and the relationships start coming and you're not sure what's going on. But you got to start pushing that thing and you get a couple steps under you. And now it's starting to burn not only in your thigh, but now your calves and your thighs are hurting. And as you're pushing it, you're coming to a realization, holy cow, I'm pushing this thing up a hill, but there's no going back. If I stop pushing even for a second, it's going to come rolling back on me. And that's when all these other pressures start happening, whether it's the family or the practices or all the things you're trying to do at school or the grades. But all these things seem like they're just compounding and coming on you. And these things that were only small before in your life are now huge. But it's not too late. Because what ends up happening is if you could just keep digging in, even though now your back is hurting and now your legs, you can't almost feel them. They're rubbery. But now you peek around the refrigerator, either side of it, and you can see the actual top of the hill. And this is the point that you just keep pushing. And this is probably where a lot of you guys are at now. But if you can see that hill and if you can just keep pushing towards it, you got to take my words for this. Once you get to that hill and you take that last step and you get it over the top of the hill, it starts rolling forward. And now you start becoming the person that you're turning into. And now you're comfortable with yourself. And it starts moving faster. And you start realizing the kind of people that you're best off hanging around. And it starts going faster and faster. And you find more of these people. And you find out the activities they're into, the music they're into, the things they're into. A lot of them the same things that you're into. And then good luck stopping that refrigerator from rolling down that other side of the hill. So it's not easy to see this, but you got to take my word from this because I know this. Every adult has been through this and made it through and turned into the person that they've become. And you will too. You just can't stop pushing that refrigerator. But if you do, there are adults around you. There are people, whether at home, whether at school, that are going to help you back up. And if they aren't around you now, take my word for it. You keep doing the right thing. You keep plugging away. You keep doing what you're supposed to do at school, at home, in between. And eventually you are going to surround yourself with those people that are going to make you better and better if you aren't already surrounded by them now. So I just want to point out that I had at least 200, 300, 400, 500 people that I was able to make eye contact through the day as I'm giving this 8 or 10 minute long presentation. And I know I got through to these kids. And sometimes you get through to somebody and it hits them right away. And sometimes the word means something later. And sometimes you think you get through to them and it clearly went in one ear and out the other. But I'm so grateful to be working in a place where I have the opportunity to try to make a difference. And so grateful that I spent an entire day doing this, and I had kids that were open enough to listen to this, that they all sat through this delivery and listened to it. And on the last level, I'm really grateful that I've got you out there that you're listening to this too, because you might know somebody of this age that this could hit home with. And I don't care if you share this video. I don't care if you subscribe, like, and share. Okay? But if there's something you can do to help me get this message out, to help somebody else's life get a little bit better, we just might make a difference here. Anyhow, sorry I got a little long-winded there. Please remember, subscribe, like, and share for even more Scoop Malaire. Thanks, you guys.